Hey there, I'm Latasha, and this is Social Media Management for Beginners. If you're wondering how I know how to do this stuff, I used to work as a social media manager at a Fortune 500 staffing company, at an automotive company. I've worked at nonprofits, agencies, and I've been an entrepreneur for the past several years and have done my own stunts and run my own social media, as well as worked as a marketing strategist, content creator, and social media manager for tons of other brands. So I have a little bit of experience and I'm here to share it with you. If you're new here, I do have a social media management for beginners playlist if you want to dive deeper. And this week is the social media management for beginners takeover on this channel. So be sure to come back on Wednesday and Friday for a couple of additional videos. Social media managers do a lot. There are a lot of different tasks that can fall under the social media management kind of role, if you will. Now, the thing that I'll say is no two social media managers' days are going to look exactly the same, and no two social media management roles are probably going to be responsible for the same thing. It totally depends on if you're working for a large organization, if you're working for a small organization, if you're working as a freelancer, if you're working in-house, if you're working at an agency. So the first thing that you need to do is just assemble a list of all of the tasks that you are responsible for. And if you are working for yourself and you're a freelancer, you will be defining a lot of these in your proposal. You'll be telling your prospective client, hey, these are the things that I want to do. Do you want to create the content? Do you want to write the captions? Do you want to submit for approval? What do you want to do? You can figure all that out. I have other videos that talk about how to figure out what you want to do, so you can check those out for more on that. So start with that one big list. From there, I want you to separate that list into daily tasks and weekly tasks. So there are things that just have to be done on social media every single day. Some of those might include checking the social media inbox, responding to comments, doing outbound engagement, which means scrolling your clients' feeds or your own feeds, and liking, commenting, engaging with other people in your industry, maybe influencers, or aligning brands, clients, things like that. Publishing content, creating content if you're doing it daily. So these are all things that you might have in your daily category. And then do the same thing for weekly. A few examples of weekly tasks that social media managers are probably going to be responsible for are maybe auditing profiles to make sure that any of your brand photos and links and bios and things like that are all up to date. I recommend pulling a report for yourself at least, but you may also be submitting this to your client. Analyzing your success. If you are a freelancer, you might have to slot in time to actually do your own bookkeeping, balancing your books, maybe meeting with your team. You may also be prospecting. You want to write in time to prospect and look for new clients, again, if you are self-employed. So now you have your two lists. Next thing you're going to want to do is assign a priority level to each of those tasks. Some of these things might be kind of like nice to do, but aren't fully necessary. For example, changing a Facebook banner image to align with the season. You know, maybe you have a fall banner, a winter banner, things like that. Like, is that crucial to the business? And how I determine whether or not it is critical, whether or not it is super important, is if it impacts revenue directly. So of course, if I need to turn off Facebook ads to make sure I don't keep spending the client's money, well, that is going to be a high priority item. But if it's just something that's like brand or that can be done, you know, a couple days late and nobody's going to get hurt, usually nobody will know, let's be honest, then that might be a lower priority item. You also want to put anything that is time-based onto your calendar. So for example, maybe you and your client have a standing Friday meeting where you discuss the report and discuss the upcoming content calendar Fridays at noon, let's say. So you need to make sure that you're pulling that report by Thursday end of day or Friday morning at the latest. So you kind of already know what your Friday or Thursday evening is gonna look like, depending on when you wanna do that. Then it's really kind of up to you. Most of the businesses that I've worked for in-house didn't really care when I got stuff done as long as I was meeting deadlines. And of course, as a freelancer, you are in total control of your schedule. So I recommend planning around when you work best. You know, there are certain times of day that I just feel like I'm more creative. Those times are usually in the morning or later at night. So I might choose to write my captions and all of my copywriting stuff in the morning or later on in the day. I'm also not great at focusing first thing in the morning. I kind of feel like I just want to like seize the day and activate all of my senses, and I don't want to be tied to my desk. So I like to do some of that more boring admin type stuff in the afternoon maybe start around lunchtime or a little after lunch, have my second cup of coffee and just like sit at my desk for a little bit. But that's really up to you. It totally depends on your body's natural rhythms, like what you like to do, where you live, all of that kind of stuff. You'll also want to pay attention to sunlight. If you are responsible for creating content, you'll probably start to get to know your area and, what you like best, what you think looks best for the product or the people that you are recording in terms of light. I really actually prefer to record later in the evening when the light's a little bit more blue. That's just my preference, but you'll figure out what you like best. So I use Google Calendar to assign time blocks to each of these different tasks, and I'll make them recurring if I know, okay, Monday mornings, I'm going to be working on captions. Tuesday afternoons, I'm going to be creating content, and so on. Otherwise, I'll just do it week by week if those things change, which a lot of the times they do change quite a bit just because our schedules can be kind of all over the place depending on campaigns and time of year and all of that. Now, this last tip is totally optional, but I really, really recommend it. I recommend assigning one day a week if you can. Maybe it's half a day, maybe it's a couple hour time block, whatever you can swing, but assign a time block to work as your CEO day. I call it a CEO day because it's basically when I get all of my stuff in order, meaning I'm doing all my admin stuff, I'm paying my contractors, I am perhaps getting on the phone with a lawyer or an accountant if I need to. I am analyzing my own personal reports so that I know which decisions to make for the business in the weeks to come. Having a day set aside for this where you don't take meetings, you close your calendar to anyone who wants to book you on those days is so, so helpful. I just have an ongoing note on my computer and on my phone when something like that comes up. Oh, gotta pay this person. Oh, gotta call my lawyer. I just know, cool, on Fridays, I have the time to be able to do that. And one last tip, if you are a freelancer, is to always be prospecting. If you're booked out with clients, it can feel like, I don't really need to prospect. I don't need to be sending in pitches. I don't need to be connecting with people on LinkedIn or sending in proposals on Upwork or anything like that. But I'm telling you, having people who are kind of active in the hopper, if you will, always comes in handy whenever I do get to a point where I do want or need a new client. So just set aside some time for prospecting activities, even if you're booked and busy. This might be 1 hour a week, or it could be done during half of your CEO day, whatever makes sense for you given the position that you are in. All right, so that's it. I have a freebie for you if you're interested, and be sure to come back on Wednesday and Friday for a new episode in this series. I hope it was helpful, and I'll see you then.